Let's get ready to rumble.
Yes, we're back. Here we go. Episode 103 of the Hibs Ramble. And unlike Hibs at the weekend, I'm joined by two gentlemen that can actually get a job done and see it through to the end. Interpret that however way you wish. I'm joined by Craig and Liam. How are we doing, gentlemen?
I'm doing good.
If it's a plate of food, I'm definitely seeing it to the end, but beyond that, debatable. But
Yeah, I mean, I like to think that I see most things through. Most things.
Like I said, interpret it however way you wish.
You're going to keep me up all night thinking about that, to be honest.
I can only see half the things, so...
That's true. He's a cyclops, everyone.
Yeah.
You can only get one eye that works.
Right. Running order for tonight, gentlemen and gentle ladies, for everyone listening. Doing it a little bit differently tonight. We will obviously talk about the capitulation at the weekend. Rude not to, unfortunately. And we'll look forward to everyone's favourite fixture, which is obviously the Edinburgh Derby. But what we'll do is we'll chuck the listener questions in the middle. A lot of the listener question stuff are relating to the weekend match. So we'll obviously cover that off. Try and get everyone's spirits up for what will hopefully be a fantastic weekend. And there's a couple
I'm fucking dreading it already, by the way.
And there's a couple of games and stuff like that, Derby-related quizzes. You know how I run it. So we've got that towards the end as well to look forward to. So you might not want to listen to the first half. You might not want to listen to the second half, but you'll definitely want to listen to a little bit at the end. Where
I'm sure
more than likely
so if you're listening now, then you'd be as well just fucking skipping until is what you've basically just said. Instead of listening to it.
It's up to them. Depends if they value our opinion or not. So we'll get right into it, boys. Match at the weekend. Newell and Rudy came back into the starting 11. Craig, first of all, with you, did you think that was the right decision? Or do you think David Gray's maybe already starting to be a little bit too loyal to certain players and bringing them straight back in?
Nah, because with Tannadice being suspended, it was kind of the only logical move that he could make. You could talk about probably being too loyal in other areas of the park, but I think when you look at the options we've got, Newell was probably the only option to come back in to centre midfield alongside Quan. And then if we're going a wee bit more attacking, obviously bringing Rudy back in to sort of start ahead of them, although I think he started he seemed to play more off the left to start with. Do you know what? I've tried to put the game in my head that much, I can't even remember who else played in that. Cadden, Boyle and Miko. But in terms of centre mid, Newell was the logical option, I think.
Yeah.
Liam, we had quite a strong bench. Obviously, Martin Boyle came on at half time. Ellie Yuan was on there. Josh Campbell, Dwight Gale, and stuff like that. Yes, we had Hoylett.
Hoylett, sorry, Hoylett, that's the other one. That's Boyle didn't start at all.
Hoylett was starting, but all in all, we had quite a strong bench. Were you quite disappointed not to see the likes of maybe Yuan? I can maybe understand Boyle, but Campbell or maybe even Gale starting.
Yeah, the Yuan one, it's really been pickling my brain since Saturday. I don't really want to be someone who's starting spreading rumours and stuff, but there's surely got to be something happening with Ellie Yuan. He's the best player at the club. He's been on the bench now for the last few weeks. He's hardly got a sniff. For me, he's got to be starting every week. He's got to be the first name on the team sheet. It's baffling to me. But no, I tell you what, Shaun, it was quite refreshing to see the strength of the bench, because it's not really, it sounds stupid, but it's not really something that we've had for a long time. If your bench is strong and your starting 11 is weak, then it's a bit silly, but it's always good to have those options later on in the game. But no, I think he probably could have changed it up a little bit. It's not like the starting 11 that he's kind of consistently been going with, those personnel. It's not like they've really been pulling through with results and performances. So I think David Gray, if he's really thinking about it, could probably have changed it, but he didn't, and here we are.
Something that probably should be changed is Joe Neal's tackling style, and we'll come on to Joe later on in the episode. I made Craig in particular aware of it at the weekend when I was prepping the episode. But just very, very quickly, the first yellow card. Did either of you think it was a yellow at that point? Did you think it was a foul? And even at that point, did you sense that this could maybe come to bite us in the arse after what happened in previous fixtures?
I think 10 years ago, it's never a foul.
It's
But
never a foul. It's not even a foul now. Like, Newell's nowhere near him.
is
Like,
it no? Is this no the argument of it's the speed and the intensity and player
No,
safety or whatever?
It was a slide in the middle of the park.
No, but it's no about that. It's about the speed that he goes in at. That's what the referees are looking for now, which I think is daft. Because
But
you could slide in dead fast, win the ball, take nothing of the man, still get booked.
Nah, because that first one, he's no went in with any speed, any force whatsoever. It's almost one of the ones when somebody's trying to play it up the line and you slide in to block the pass. So you can see Middleton actually anticipates it well before Newell. It's almost as soon as Newell starts to go to ground, Middleton dives over him. So even if Middleton stays on his feet, he probably skips, like he's got the ball under control and he skips away from him.
Yep.
So I think the frustration for me with that was that there'd been a couple of Dundee United fouls before that, and there was maybe one or two that were on their second version on their third foul. Yet the first foul for a Hibs perspective was a booking. And the frustrating point is that when you know if Newell goes on put Newell on a booking, I mean, what was it? 10 minutes into the game, something like that.
Earlier.
Like completely. Was it even earlier than that?
No, it was early in the game. I've not got the exact minute in front of me. But...
Oh, right, aye. And we've seen for Newell in the past that when he gets an early booking, he's prone to potentially getting a second, i.e. that semi-final at Hampden. So I don't think it's one that you didn't think at the time is going to come back to bite you in the arse, because centre mids get booked every week and they don't get sent off. But playing the percentages, he's no longer, but he's just back from an injury. You could clearly see after about 60, 65 minutes he was starting to tow the caravan a wee bit. So I think that's more on Gray, but you can't legislate. The first one's not even a foul, never mind a booking.
It's no foul. I think also, see, with the early booking there, Craig, just what you were saying, I think it takes a massive edge off of Joe Newell's game. Because Joe Newell, in the position that he was getting asked to play on Saturday, needs to be physical. He needs to be putting in the challenges, and he's not going to be able to do that as freely for the other 80 minutes, 75 minutes if he'd been booked on 10-15. So it takes away that edge, and it takes away a lot of the bite in the middle of midfield as well. Not that we had an awful lot, but it takes away what we had.
But even on that, his tackling isn't great anyway.
No, it's no, but it takes away his want to be physical.
Yeah.
For fear of getting a second booking.
I mentioned earlier on, well, just at the beginning there, about Gray potentially being too loyal. And Craig, you said that you felt he's maybe loyal in other areas of the pitch. Do you think Lewis Miller is one of those players that he's maybe being a little bit too loyal to? Because again, at the weekend, beat very, very easily, time and time again. And yeah, what do you make on just where maybe Lewis is as a whole? Because he's obviously had a very, very good international break. He scored his goal for Australia. But do you think Lewis is one of those players, and where do you think he is at the minute?
It's that whole right hand side. For the life of me, I don't understand how you can have Boyle and Ewan both on the bench and start Cadden at right wing.
Yeah,
I don't get it. Like Liam said, clearly something going on with Ellie. If he's not in Gray's plans, then why is he in the squad? So if he's in the squad, he's fit to play, and he should be playing. But Miller's a strange one. He's when you look at him, everything tells you, right, when you look at him physically, that he should be an absolute monster as a fullback. He's tall, he's built, he's deceptively quick. But he's just, I don't know what it is. I mean, I think you can obviously, again, is it on Gray to play him after doing all that travelling? Because he's going to be, his body's going to be fatigued, whether he admits it or not. He's going to be physically and mentally tired, and to get smoked that early in the game isn't he great? But it's the rest of his play. Like, he's on the ball, he's really sloppy, he's really slow to react. He's this fucking diving that he does all the time as well is just
That
so.
winds me up, by the way.
And I mean, you go back
Really
to the semi-final against Aberdeen last season. We lost a goal from him trying to claim a free kick in the middle of the park.
Mm-hmm.
He's not learning for the same mistakes that he's trying to make. And that first goal was just a complete calamity, from him getting smoked on the right hand side, from Ekpiteta refusing to go out and engage with Middleton to stop the cross. Middleton has a completely unopposed run into the box that the centre half should be coming over to cover. But that right hand side for us is a massive issue. And I know what Liam was saying earlier about, it's good to have a strong bench. But for me, if Boyle's fit to be on the bench, he's fit to start.
And this is what I was saying as well. It's nice to have a strong bench, but if the starting 11 is weak, then a strong bench makes absolutely no sense.
You start regardless of what scenario they're in, you start your strongest team. Boyle's not going to have lost fitness because he had an operation on his wrist. If Newell's fit to start after having some sort of groin type of, like, whatever it was, an operation or even a touch-up, whatever, Boyle's fit to start after having...
Is there no a case of the fact that Boyle really hasn't been doing it, though?
But neither's Newell. You're not telling me, right, and there's no metric that David Gray's looking at that can say that Chris Cadden is better on the right-hand side of midfield than Martin Boyle or Ellie Ewan.
Well, if he'd listened to the Hibs Ramble last week, he would have heard that I specifically told him not to do it, didn't I, Shaun?
If there is a metric, I'd love to see the method behind it, because
it'll be something today with yards ran, meters ran.
Yeah, but you could understand that argument if we were wanting to have an extra fullback on the pitch, i.e. against Celtic or Rangers.
Even if the idea is to drop into a three at the back and have Miller as the right centre half and Cadden as a right wing back, but it wasn't. Chris Cadden was playing right wing.
Yeah, Craig pretty much summed it up regarding the first goal, and how easy we were and how easy it was beat, and the lack of awareness at the back post. But what about our first goal, Liam? For me, it seemed like it was well worked. It was off the training ground. It was from one side of the pitch to the back post and then headed back across, where obviously all the bodies then came across and then slotted in at what would have been the near post in regards to where the cross came in from. What was your thoughts on it, and did you think that we deserved to get back into the game at that point?
To be honest, it was a good goal. Yeah, Miller does really well to get the ball back across, and it's a decent enough header from O'Hora to get it in. But genuinely, I didn't really think there was an awful lot in the game up till that point. I didn't think either side really deserved to have a goal. Obviously, good to get back into it, and it gives us a little bit of momentum going into half time. But no, listen, I don't think we. I was going to say it's against the run of play, but I don't really think that there was a run of play. It was scrappy, it was boring, it was a bit of a crap game, really, first half. But Warren O'Hora, yeah, good goal. It's nice to see that at least we've got a little bit of danger from set pieces now. Warren O'Hora actually made up a song for him to the tune of Hot to Go by Chapel Run. That'll sing if you want me to.
Go for it. Give us a rendition.
So it goes, Warren O'Hora, captain when Newell doesn't play. And I didn't even need to get ChatGPT to help me with that one.
Is that it? Is there no...
Aye.
Right, okay. Let's
Warren O'Hora, captain when Newell doesn't play.
We obviously went into half-time. Boyle comes on for Miller, understandably, as well, considering the knock that Miller had and the performance that he had as well. Liam, did you think that we should have maybe made any other changes at half-time?
I would have liked to have seen us go two up top and put Gale on next to Miko, but it's not something that Gray is tending to do at the moment, so I knew that wasn't going to happen. I wouldn't want to sacrifice one striker for another at half-time, but I was happy to see Boyle on. I would have liked to have seen Yuan come on, but listen, this is it, mate.
Gaffer, move on, deal with it.
I'm not the gaffer, and I was I wasn't happy, but David Gray's not going to listen to me, is he?
Craig.
I spent too much time making up songs.
Aye, great songs, right enough. Craig, Dundee United got a goal disallowed as well. I feel like that was kind of a bit of a let-off for us. Obviously, Chris Cadden goes down injured as well. Leads to the change of shape. But in that goal, Jordan Obita again poorly defended it. Lapse in concentration again for him, which we've seen quite a lot this season. At that point in the game, at 1-1, did you think that the injury to Cadden could have maybe been a bit of a blessing to us or more of a hindrance in regards to it's forced David Gray to change shape, try something different, and maybe go on the face of it a little bit more attacking?
I mean, the best way, right, that I can sum up how we are at the moment is we are literally off art na jobby. There was a lot of talk in the summer, right, when David Gray got the job, and he said, "I don't like the word philosophy," and to me, it appears that that's because nobody knows what the right philosophy.
I don't know. I think our philosophy is shipping cheap goals and being soft as shite.
It's been that for at least 4 or 5 years.
Ironically, physically, we are a monster of a team when you look at the size of guys like Quan, Tannadice, Ekpiteta, O'Hora. Yet we are just they're all nice guys. They're all nice guys, and it kind of pisses all over the reason why Hibs didn't want to go for Nisbet in the summer was because of his attitude. Yet his attitude seems to be serving quite well in an Aberdeen team that are sitting joint top of the league.
And listen, nice guys finish last, and look where we are in the table.
Well, I know that's kind of going off on a tangent in terms of, but because it was about Gray changing, we actually looked all right when we went to the 3-5-2. When Iredale came on as well, we actually looked not bad, and it obviously culminates in the second goal with Obita being a bit higher. And I mean, the fucking cross for Obita is outstanding. Like, you can't say anything else, and then Dwight Gale does what he's probably done his whole career and just sort of sneaks away at the back post and headers it down expertly. Yeah, it was one of them where one of my pals texted me at the moment Dwight Gale scored. He went, "There's no point celebrating. McKinmott's coming," and that just sums us up at the minute. But we did look a bit more assured when we went to the 3, and then obviously it all goes to shite with 1, Newell getting sent off, and 2, the substitutions that Gray makes that effectively kill us.
Yeah, well, you've pretty much just covered off my next 3.
I was literally just going to say that. You asked him about Cadden's substitution, and he is talking about fucking.
You can take the whole statement.
In fairness, I've got here talking about the change of shape, and then moving on to the second goal. Craig said everything that needs to be said about the second goal because Obita does obviously whip it in very well, and then he goes on to mention Newell's red card. And Craig, I will come back to you on Newell in a second, but Liam, see in regards to the sending off, what was your thoughts on it? Because there was clearly a delay in it, in the decision being made. But I guess we find ourselves in this situation with Joe Newell again, where he's meant to be club captain or is club captain. He said 2 years ago, "I'm not going to change the way I play or change my game." Surely a sense or a sign of maturity in a footballer shows that you're able to adapt and be a better individual for the team. So if he's a team captain, surely he should understand that he's been at Hibs long enough. He understands the league. He understands the teams that we're playing against. He can't continue to play the way that he's been playing because it's not served him very well so far. And he's constantly the one that is on yellow cards the most and the one that is always diving in after a poor first touch.
Yeah. In terms of not being able to change the way that you play, I mean, how much of that do you think is birthday card pish? And just, media man this, media man that. I mean, I've seen a massive change in Joe Newell since he came to the club in the way that he plays. So he's talk shite. You know what I mean? But the foul itself is, if he wasn't already on a booking, that's a straight red every day of the week. His foot's high, he studs it up, he goes over the ball and catches the Dundee United player on the shin. It's a straight red card. I don't know what's going on with the delay. If I don't know, maybe if the referee doesn't realise that it's Newell who's made the challenge, who's already been booked, and he's trying to play the advantage. That seems to me like the only logical explanation as to why it's been allowed to go on for 10, 15 seconds and then been pulled back.
I think it's official.
The fourth.
That's the only reasonable thing, because it was at least probably 10 seconds before he blows for the foul, I think.
Yeah, I think we should. It would be good to hear from referees' perspectives why these decisions have been made. I'm not arguing the decision to send them off for a second booking at all, because I think even regardless if he'd been booked or no booked in the first half, that's for me, if that's a Dundee United player or a Hibs player, it's a straight red card every day of the week. But no, I can't. I've gone off on a tangent here. I've done a Craig, but no.
Craig, see, in regards to not the challenge itself and not the actual decision to send them off, right? Because we're not obviously disputing that. Where do you stand on Joe Newell's playing style and the fact that we see those types of challenges a lot from him?
I just think it's the mark of a poor football player, if I'm being totally honest. A centre midfielder, I suppose, right? We were completely blessed in that we've never managed to replace him with John McGinn, right? And John McGinn was back and forward, constant, box to box to box to box, right? And we've never replaced him.
It's an anomaly, though. I don't think you can. We cannot replace him.
No, I know, but I know you can get players in the same sort of mould. Like you look at somebody like, well, we tried to sign Luke McKeown in the summer, who ability wise is obviously nowhere near the level of McGinn, but has the same kind of attributes in that he likes to go, maybe not necessarily that he likes to, but his game's suited to, like what Josh Campbell was said, he wants to be in both boxes, which I'd rather fucking keep him away from anywhere near the boxes, but that's another story. But for me, Newell, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't profess to be a footballing expert, but what people see in Joe Newell to rate, I genuinely don't get it. And this is where it's a problem area for us for so many years has been the centre of the midfield. And you can't be giving the captaincy to someone who lets us down in the way that Newell does. Like that.
Does he, though? Does he consistently let us down?
He does, Liam.
It might not be overly obvious, right? But your centre midfielder's obviously there to not necessarily break up play, but be involved the vast majority of a match, right? A good centre midfielder shouldn't always have to end up on a yellow card. Consistently, Joe Newell has been our most yellow carded midfielder based on minutes since he's arrived at the club. And on top of that, I know, sorry, Craig, we were in a really good position at that point. And you mentioned earlier on, like I mentioned about him not wanting to change his game, right? But if he's constantly on a yellow card and he's constantly on a booking, he's not playing to his maximum potential or his maximum ability. And if he's doing that 13, 14, 15 times a season, that's then taken away a lot from his game. So whether we agree that Joe Newell's a good player or not a good player, or whether we get the hype or don't get the hype, a player that constantly ends up on a yellow card is the mark of a poor player, because why are you consistently being yellow carded? And then when you're on that yellow card, you then have to watch yourself for the rest of the match. So therefore, you're not having as good an impact on the team and on that pitch at that time.
See, for me with Joe Newell, right, and this is the thing that gets me with him, there is not one game in the near 6 years that he's been at Hibs that I've come away from thinking, fucking hell, Newell was the reason.
Was there at home?
But Newell wasn't the reason we won it. Just because he scored, it wasn't the reason that we won.
He was excellent that night.
So one game in 4 years.
Yep. I can think of a lot of times where I've come away and think, genuinely, and I'm not trying to discredit your opinion here, Craig, but I honestly, I think that you're, and don't take this the wrong way, a bit blinkered in your views on you. Honestly, I do think that. I think you've made up your mind about him, and you've decided that he's shite, and I think at times he can be, and he has let us down at times, but for me, more than most, it's like a 70-30 split. Newell's better than he is worse.
So tell me what.
Do you not
So,
think, like, just
on that, right, tell me what he does. Give me an example of what he does well.
I like the way that he does his hair. No, it's like I just feel
for me, a centre midfielder should be.
We're more assured with him in the middle of the park, though.
But we're sitting bottom of the league.
That's because the rest of the team's shite.
Last season we finished 8th.
As a player, does that not just sum up where we have been the last 4 or 5 years? That he is our club captain.
For me, right?
The cynic in me thinks that a club captain should be your best player and probably the next one to be sold or there or thereabouts, especially when it's a centre midfielder. We as a club at Hibs, unless it's like a Callum McGregor type player who loves the club and will clearly never ever leave regardless of how good they are, our centre midfielders should be top and should be looked at to being sold in the next big break coming through our, whether it's our academy or our next big sale. But that's just not the case. So whether people rate Joe Newell or not, a club like Hibs, our centre midfielder should be one of, if not the best player in our team. And
this is where I'm at. I like Newell. Is he the best player, or is he one of the best players in the team? Absolutely not. Does he? He's fine. He's fine for that position. But do we need better? Of course we do. Should he be the captain? I don't think so. But I don't think that Newell is as bad as Craig is making out. But that's just my opinion.
See, for me, right, your centre midfielder should be somebody who you look to turn to when the chips go down to grab the game by the scruff of the neck.
Chips.
And drive the team, chippy chips, and drive the team forward. Somebody who you look to in moments of adversity that turn the game around for you, right? The one example that I can think of is the 2-0 game, the 2-2 game at Tynecastle, when Dylan McGeoch went off injured and Kevin Thompson came on. Two players who couldn't be any more different. Yet that second half at Tynecastle, we managed to get ourselves back into the game because of Bartley and Thompson.
Kevin Thompson, massive rambler.
They two that day were a huge reason why we ended up getting a point. It was a fucking cup game. But then subsequently, those two in the centre of the park were a big reason why we ended up winning the following Wednesday at Easter Road. Joe Newell, as a centre midfielder, does not have either one of their battling qualities, and that's my issue.
None of our centre midfielders at the moment do, though. None of them do.
That's where we're at as a club.
Yeah, we don't need somebody like Gogic that's a fucking hammer thrower, right? That's not what I'm saying. But we need somebody in the middle of the park to when the chips are really down, and you're looking about for somebody who you'd want in the trenches. Your centre midfielder needs to embody something at least. Joe Newell seems to have been given the armband because 1, he's played with Gray. 2, he's been at the club the longest, probably now, given that Hanlon and Stevenson are away.
Apart from Martin Boyle.
So he's been here longer than Boyle because Boyle went away for 6 months.
Okay.
And he's a good guy around the place. That's all we seem to hear about. Anybody that's involved, oh, he's a great guy. Oh, he's a good guy. Oh, he's got a great personality, great character. if their character's been soft as shite and being happy with being bottom of the league, then we're acing the recruitment strategy on that aspect. But I tried to no be blinkered with players. You're probably right though, Liam. There is an element in my mind that's made up, but then on the flip side, if he wasn't,
Do you get what I'm saying though? Like, I'm not trying to say that he's Xavi or Iniesta. I'm saying that we need better, but I don't think he's that bad.
But I would have loved.
He's not captain material, and he's nowhere near the level of centre midfielders that we've had in the past that have done well for Hibs, and he doesn't have the qualities. The more that I'm talking, the more I'm like, actually, Craig is right. But you know what I mean?
There's one example that I can give with I think it was Maloney's first derby. It was 0-0 at Easter Road, and Newell ended up getting himself injured. That he went too far in trying to grab the game by the scruff of the neck, right? So for me, he either never does it, or when he tries,
it too much.
fucking way over the limit. That Luzern game is probably the perfect example. And
of him getting it right.
And this is where my frustration with Newell comes, in that's what he can do. But in 5 years at the club, I beyond that one game, I couldn't tell you any other game. And I'm not buying this, oh, he's the best that we've got. Saying that he's the best centre midfielder we've got is a fucking damning indictment on the 6 or 7 that are sitting behind him.
I don't think he is the best midfielder that we've got. Sorry, Shaun. We'll let you continue the episode in a minute. What on earth is Nathan Mariah Welsh doing? Where's he? And I mean, Jake Doyle Hayes.
I would also
no one knows what's going on with him.
Amos and Mariah Welsh are probably technically the best two that we have. But
I really like Nathan Mariah Welsh. I've got no idea why he's been bombed out, and I think that Nathan Mariah Welsh is in the mould of that kind of box to box. I think he's in the Josh Campbell style, but he's better than Campbell.
I would say Nathan Mariah Welsh is the destroyer that we want, but he's just not.
No, he's not. But I think he's one of these Jackie all trade midfielders. Do you not think?
Nathan Mariah Welsh should definitely be nowhere near past the opponent's box, so in the final third.
I don't think he. I mean, for me, doesn't he get in over Tannadice and Kwon? They're the starting sixes.
Right. Okay. Back to where we were anyway.
Move on, Shaun. Move on.
Where we were. I got what I wanted, but we went a little bit longer than I wanted. Liam, what should David Gray have done after that sending off? Because for me, when that sending off happens, I'm like, right, okay, well, we've seen this story happen time and time again. Maybe not as bad as that, but what should David Gray have done? Because he brings on Campbell. Should he have maybe looked at potentially bringing Rocky on and putting another defender on? I know that would have been like 4 centre-halves on the pitch. Or do you think he should have maybe looked at a Yuan to stretch the game a wee bit more?
I think I would have put on Yuan. He's been there before. What game was it? Was it the Dundee game at home where he put, or no, was it? Oh, maybe it was last season when he put Rocky on for some reason, and we lost a late goal.
That was Montgomery.
Ross County.
Oh, was that under Montgomery?
I think.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, ignore me then. I'm talking shite. But
bringing on Rocky with 5 minutes to go in a game where teams are going to start shelling the ball into the box is a nightmare for a centre half that can't hit the ball.
Yeah, I wouldn't have brought Rocky on. I maybe would have brought Yuan on just to give us a little bit of pace on the counter, because it's not, with all due respect to Dundee United, they're not a Celtic, they're not an Aberdeen, they've not got a varied arsenal of threats going forward that are really going to hurt us. I don't think that's the case, and they should never have got 2 goals in the last 5 minutes. That's a joke. But I think Gray's obviously just trying to play it a little bit too safe. And
it's backfired massively. And it's another addition to the mistakes that Gray's made personnel-wise this season. Craig, walk me through what on earth happened in the added-on time.
I'm losing the will to live every time I see Josh Campbell's number go up on a substitutes board. I really am.
You've not got an awful lot of nice things to say tonight, Craig.
Liam asked about added on time, not the subs.
Well, one of the goals comes for Campbell being a smart arse on the left-hand side, losing the ball when it was easier to not lose the fucking ball, and then give a foul away because he's pulling at a jersey. But it's the fucking goalie.
The defending.
Oh my god, man!
The defending for both the goals is stinky.
I mean,
smelly.
Dundee United's equaliser. The boy is in the 6-yard box and he takes a touch before finishing, and there's not one. There's not. I'm literally just watching it again now. Middleton, Boyle does shite with Middleton. The goalies punches it back into the middle of the box, and the guy takes a touch before finishing. Like, I don't think you could get a more comedy of error. Like the goalie's at his near post and pams it into the boy's path.
Do you think
like, if the goalie
in added time is just a capitulation of multiple errors and a lot of like just shit in the bed?
There's absolutely zero composure.
So, like,
zero composure across the.
As soon as we host that second one and it goes to 2-2, do you think straight away that they've just shat the bed and then everyone's not concentrating correctly? Whereas if we were maybe 3-1 up and they'd maybe made it 3-2, that maybe wouldn't have happened. But because it was an equaliser, we're down at the bottom of the table, everything seems to be going against us at the minute. Do you think it was just a coming together of everything? And when you're on that pitch, you've already conceded, and next thing you know, they're already down your throat again, and you're praying for the final whistle, and it's just not coming.
All the momentum went to Dundee United, though. They've got their tails up after getting the equaliser. And, you know, as scrappy as it was, they've got the ball in the back of the net, and it's 11 against 10. And we're panicking. And all composure for Hibs goes completely out the window. Dundee United step up a little bit, and I think it's as simple as that, Shaun. To be honest, I think it's the fact that we have shat the bed, and they've been able to keep the heat a wee bit and get the ball in the back of the net twice.
Because Bursic makes one of the best saves that we've seen in a very, very long time. Just a couple of weeks ago at Ibrox, and everyone was saying that he's been brilliant and he's been really well in so some games this season. And then now everyone's flipped it on their head and saying we need to terminate the loan and bring in someone more experienced, whereas he's already a loan, so it's clearly a stopgap until either Murray Johnson is ready or we get a better keeper next summer. So you can't be brilliant one week as a player and think, right, this is the right man to have, and then let's terminate the loan the next week. It's very, very reactionary.
Yeah, it is. I like Bursic, right? I do like him, and I think he is a half-decent goalie, but he had an absolute nuke on Saturday. An absolute nuke. I think he's fine for the moment, but he's not a long-term option. He'll do this season.
He's one of the worst goalies we've ever had.
Eh?
He's one of the worst goalies we've ever had. I'm telling you that now.
You're high.
He literally looks like we've signed fucking Cal the Dragon.
You're on.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Craig, number 6, mark your man.
That's a reach. I'm not having that.
Mate, he's terrible. He's absolutely terrible. There's no... You expect, right, for a goalie, you expect him to have one redeeming quality, whether it be shot stopping, whether it be distribution, whether it be command of his area, whether it be good at crosses, whatever. He's shite at everything. I'm honestly, I will die on that fucking hill. He is one of the worst goalies that we've had. And the problem is that the fucking boy brought in to sit behind him on the bench is probably even worse than
even worse. Before you ask, no, I've not had me haircut.
Like,
I've just slicked it back.
That's that third goal, man. Iredale wins the header, right?
I like it. I thought he was all right, by the way, on Saturday when he came on.
Iredale wins the header, and his reward for winning the header is taking a Superman punch. So the goalie doesn't have a mind for it, right? Iredale wins the header. The boy tries to lob it. Keeper's on his fucking line. He catches it. He tips it over the bar. Knowing him, he probably would have punched it right back into the middle of the box. But it doesn't go in.
But that's what I'm saying regarding lack of concentration and shit in the bed.
Each one of those goals comes for the goalie being at fault. The first goal, he's in front of his near post for some reason. The second goal, he pams it right out in the middle of the box. And the third goal, he decides to be Roman Reigns and start super punching folks. I'm sorry, but there's too many. One save at Ibrox does not make a summer. It doesn't. It really doesn't. And I've honestly see when you look at goalies.
Alan pass at Ibrox made my summer.
When you look at a goal, like you can immediately tell if somebody's a goalie, right? Just by looking at them. He looks like at my team. He looks like me when I covered and went in goals. He's basically turned up and they've went, give him the gloves. Just stick up. Ken, he's like the last boy in core PE. When you're sorting the teams out, fuck it, just put him in the goals. Like,
well,
I hope he doesn't listen to this, by the way.
And agree with Craig on that one.
And this leads on to another issue that I've got, right?
For fuck's sake. You're worse than Shaun.
He's been in the reserves for Club Bruges. Who the fuck has been watching him and thought he's the one to sign?
Well, it's funny you asked that.
Like,
because
this is my issue. Like, that's our fucking.
What's Shaun trying to do a segue and Craig's absolutely
let's
fucking
just
ruining
part that, Craig, because genuinely, Keith Robertson asked that, right? So we'll move on to listener questions.
Now it's time to answer the Hibs Ramble listener questions.
And unfortunately, John, we're not even going to answer it because you've not asked the question. So
Is that the
all
first
we
time
want
in 102
is
episodes that we've not done it?
Oh no,
103.
he replied to the tweet, but said no dinner questions, so therefore no dinner answers, John.
Well, I'm having chicken and rice, so I'm not ruining a habit.
Megan has said that we're having pasta. I think it's going to be bacon
And I'll
tomato
just say
pasta.
same so we can move on. Yes, Keith Robertson regarding player recruitment, Craig. Does our player recruitment process need changing in terms of the type of permanent loan and free agents we seek? Are the Gordons starting to give up on keeping the club going? Or does Kensal realise on the pitch is... Wait, what? Does Kensal realise on the pitch is just as, if not as important to the fans as off the pitch? So there's 3 questions for you. Take them away. Now, we have had recently a little bit of an insight to certain things going on at the club. What's your
I
take
don't
on
think
that?
you can.
What's
I
your
don't
take
think.
on that first one.
I don't think for. Oh, are you asking Craig? You're asking me.
Well, you are both there, so whoever wants to
Right,
answer.
well, I'll take the first one. I don't think there's any question whatsoever towards the commitment of finances and financial backing for the club from the Gordons.
That
So
was the second question, not the first one, but okay.
well, that's the one that I'm answering, you prick. All right. I don't think there's any question of that whatsoever, and you know, it's an easy target to blame, especially when you don't hear from them very often. It's an easy. Fans always try and find someone to blame. I'm the exact same.
Do you think Ben Kensal gets it harsh then, considering the players, the people that are now involved in the playing aspect of the squad?
Yeah, because I don't think people realise that Ben's remit isn't scouting players. It's managing the deals, doing the contracts and sorting out the monetary side. The players
He
have
puts
not
in those positions though, so he should deserve it. If Gray gets the flack for the players, Mackay gets the flack for appointing Gray, Kensal should get the flack for appointing Malky, and then Ian Gordon takes responsibility for the whole thing.
But when people
that's
are
not really how it
mentioning
works,
about
though, is it?
Kensal taking responsibility for what is on the pitch, do you think that's a fair justification, or do you think at the moment?
No, because Kensal's in charge of commercial side. That's not he's no going out and scouting the players and bringing players in. I think again, all this cancel out stuff is because fans are desperate to blame somebody, and I get it. I get it. And if we hadn't have had the insight that we had in terms of Ben clearing up what his role is, then I think we probably would have been having a bit of a different conversation right now.
So, Craig,
So
back to
he's-
Keith's first point then, right? Because we have had, we've spoke about it with the individuals involved regarding said recruitment process. So we know what that looks like at the minute, and we know what, I mean, I asked the question myself, what that will look like over the next transfer window, 2 transfer windows. So where do you stand on Keith's question regarding the current process and what we're actually looking to do?
The thing is, we don't really know how it works. So the way it works is that Gray identifies.
He goes, we don't really know how it works. The way it works is
No, so the way that we are told it works is that probably the same model that happens now at most clubs in this modern way of football with sporting directors and what have you, is that the manager goes and says, right, I need a player for X position. The recruitment team then goes, finds 4 players for said position. Gray identifies attributes and whatever he needs out of the players, so that goes into some fucking computer and bang, they come back with 4 players. The one that's probably out of reach, one that's within reach, one that's and then they work out the deal for that. But for whatever metric they're looking at and whatever they're measuring it through isn't working. The last thing we needed after signing 2 new centre halves was a goalie built like the side of a fiver. You sign 2 physically imposing centre halves and put what effectively looks like a wee laddie behind them. You look at the team. The one thing that we probably spoke about it last season is that one thing that we lack in the midfield, especially, is a wee bit of mobility. You know, Dylan Levitt's not very mobile. Josh Campbell's not mobile. Joe Newell's not very mobile. So we go out and sign Quan and Tannadice, 2 6'1", 6'2" heavy boys. We then end up playing a right back at right mid when we've got 2 wingers sitting on the bench. So whatever the way that they're trying to shape the recruitment and whatever metric they're using to measure it, for me, isn't working. I couldn't tell, and this is what I mean, I'll go back to the philosophy part at the start. What is it we're actually trying to do? Because we're not signing any players with an identifiable way that they play. So
is it not a case of just buy?
I think the problem that we've got as well is that we've got a sporting director in his first job as a sporting director, a head coach in his first job as a head coach, and a technical performance director who was the fucking goalie last season. How can we have a goalie on the recruitment staff and sign 2 shite goalies?
Maybe he's looking for a wee bit of redemption. Maybe it's like going to be WWE. One week we're just going to hear Davy Marshall's theme song. He's going to come running out the tunnel with his elbow patches.
He felt
on.
he wasn't appreciated enough, so what he's done is sign 2 shite goalies to make him look better for when he was at the club.
My God, it's David Marshall!
And this leads into another issue in that now we don't actually know what, and this is what folk will start moaning about now. What is it Marshall does?
Yeah, well, you've seen that, innit?
Yeah,
From the weekend.
It was like it's
the point fingers game. It's the blame game.
Yeah,
Who's there to take the blame? Who's doing what? Same with this fella that's been punted.
Off the field, it seems like the club are in a really good place in terms of they've got an owner and family that are clearly backing the club financially.
Yeah.
You've got your chief executive who commercially has overseen a complete revamp of the stadium. For the better, for the worse, you can decide for yourself. But ultimately, fans don't give a fuck about fancy suites when the performances on the park are shite. We've got a tie-in with a family of fucking billionaires that Ben's brought to the table, whether Ben's brought them to the table or whatever. They've still came and invested in the club. So off the pitch, everything looks rosy, apart from the accounts. But you need to spend, if you want to get better, you need to spend money, and sometimes that comes at running at a loss.
Mm-hmm.
But that only goes so far with fans when you're seeing stuff on the park. So I think it's natural for folk to look for someone to blame. Like I put on Twitter, there was opposing views. I think Ewan from Down the Slope made a comment that if you think that David Gray's the issue, I can't remember what his words were, but basically almost saying that Gray is blameless. Whereas I'm of the opposite thing, is that I think Gray should be just as much to blame as Malky Mackay. If Gray's signing off on every player that comes in, it's not just Malky Mackay's fault for identifying them. And
That's what I said.
That was made crystal clear to us that no player is signed without David Gray's approval. And it was made very clear that Gray wanted guys like Hoylett, Gray wanted Kukarevich, Gray wanted Warren O'Hora, Gray wanted the goalie. And that couldn't have been made any crystal clearer, whether it be some stuff that we were told or what Hibs actually put in the press releases themselves. So,
Craig, your best pal, Gav Dick, feels that this is on par, if not worse, with Butcher's Hibs. Very simply, do you agree with that?
I think it's too early to say that. But the signs aren't good. The signs aren't good at all.
Yeah, Gav goes on to say the same, that it's dire stuff. Relegation could potentially be flirted with this season, and he feels that David Gray won't see past the middle of November. Liam, do you think David Gray will still be in a job come December?
I think if it was anyone else but David Gray, I'd say no.
So you're saying yes?
I think so. I think he will be, yeah.
Craig, yes or no?
I don't think so.
Okay. Trump or Harris?
Trump. Wow, they're taking the cats, they're taking the dogs. David Gray, not a very good head coach, tell you that, honestly, truly. Josh Campbell, what are you doing? Get the ball into Rosie. Josh, wow. Did you see him working at McDonald's the other day? He was like, not a human hand touches the fries.
Craig?
He's done 15 more minutes work than Kamala as well.
Happy birthday, Kamala. It's 60 years old. Wow.
You're wasted in your current job, Liam, honestly.
I know, it was brilliant. Trump and Jim White, that's the two that I can do. I could have a conversation by myself in the house between Jim White and Donald Trump. Wow, welcome to Talk Sport. It's me, Jim White.
Liam, if there's ever one episode where like all of us can't make it, I fully expect you to do a Liam, Trump, and Jim White.
I could try. I could try my hardest.
Craig, Harvey Scott has said, fuck Josh Campbell, Lewis Miller, Joe Newland, Joe Bursick. So definitely someone that you should probably go for a pint with, mate. We've got sack the board, get shotty imposters like Newell, Campbell, Miller, even Boyle in there as well, which make of that what you will as well. Mark James, is it time for the Gordons in this shit show to do one? Club's going backwards at an alarming rate.
Can we just jump in on that, right? This whole get the Gordons out stuff needs to stop.
Stop
because it's not a case of, so if the Gordons just decide
who kicks them out, you know what I mean?
Like, okay, do you know what? That's fine. We will just remove all our financial backing. Oh, and do you know what? We've actually taken security over Easter Road and the training centre. So what we're going to do is we're going to call that in because we have loaned the club about 2.5 million. The Gordons don't. You can't just go Gordons away. You fucking go. It doesn't work like that.
Comes back to the fact that it's a finger pointing exercise.
Regardless of what people like to think, right? In here, it might be your club, but in the real world, it's not. It's the Gordons Club. It's their business. They can't just fucking walk away. We can't just tell them to go and they're going to go, because if we do, we wouldn't have a club. So, yeah. Let's try and put a stop to that.
Mills went, even if Gray isn't part of the problem, do you think he is part of the solution? So when we had that conversation the other week, that question was posed as well about how long he could potentially get. Craig, I think it was you that even brought it up as well.
Why? Because that's another thing I wanted to spell as well. Malky Mackay bluntly said face to face, "I will not be the next manager of Hibs. I will never manage Hibs.
Ever. Yeah, ever. It was not
Ever.
next, it was ever.
He will never manage Hibs." So
We've maybe that's a bit shite then, because he did all right at Ross County.
I don't know if Gray's. I think unless there's a drastic turn of form, unfortunately for Gray, his card's already marked with a lot of the support. And
do you honestly think that though, or do you think that he's going to get like more patience than this? Do you think people are going, is this all completely on Gray because of who David Gray is?
You can't. Well, there will be folk who sentimentally think like that, and rightly so, because of what he's done for Hibs.
That's how I think, though.
I'm able to separate Gray the player for Gray the coach. I could walk in on here and Gray and my missus, and I still wouldn't change how he made me feel on the 21st of May. But I'm able to separate that as the coach. And the thing is, I feel like we're almost in a lose-lose scenario on Sunday. In terms of if we win, it buys him an extra 4 to 6 weeks. So what's really going to happen in that 4 to 6 week period? And if we get beat, he's probably already out the door before the fucking referee gets down the tunnel at full time.
Well, before we get on to the upcoming masterclass, whatever it may be, Rudy's made a point about
Molotnikov.
Rudy.
Fans shouting at Yuan as well. So I don't know. Obviously, you might not be aware of that as well. And shouting at Martin Boyle as well. Obviously, fans are understandably frustrated. Do you think we could see Ella Yuan come into the fold on Sunday?
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so. In terms of the fans giving it tight to Boyle and Yuan, why on earth are they giving it tight to Yuan? He didn't play. He was warming up. And this is only what I've heard. I wasn't there, so I don't know. And apparently folk giving it tight to Martin Boyle as well. It's not a very nice place to be in the away end once you've lost 2 goals in injury time and lost the game. It's a very toxic place. And players are damned if they do and damned if they don't, going over and applaud the travelling fans. It's as simple as that.
That's the thing with Yuan as well. Somebody put, I think it was on .net, that he came over and applauded the fans, and it was almost like a message to Gray to say they love me, so you need to play me, and it's just very manipulative and gaslighting.
How is anyone drawing a conclusion?
See if Ellie Yuan had went straight down the tunnel. Oh, he doesn't care. He doesn't give a fuck. Ellie seems to be the fault. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody was blaming him for fucking the wind that was there on Sunday. Because he seems to be getting the blame for absolutely everything, and I wonder what the real reason actually is for that.
In the last, it's not even a listener question before we move on to the weekend's match, but our good friend Nige just hit us with 400-mile round trip, 7 hours on the road, 4 pit stops, 1 tank of fuel, 1 parking ticket, 1 shite Scotch pie, 2 late goals, 12th in the league. Regular Sunday.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Following Hibs.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Get that up on.
Things that you love to see.
400-mile run to go and see Hibs away from home. You deserve everything you get, quite frankly.
Quite frankly, truly.
We've spoke for maybe the last 30 to 40 minutes about how shit that was at the weekend, but if there's ever a perfect opportunity to put it right and wrong, and put the opportunity to put the wrongs right?
No, to put the wrongs right.
From this season.
I'm sure that's what Gray said that in one of his pressers. He was like, we want to wrong the rights of last week.
Then Sunday's obviously an opportunity to do that. The last 3 games in spells we've had good opportunities, but we're still yet to see a 90 minutes under Gray, and I feel like I can't remember the last time I've seen 90 good minutes from a Hibernian team. Where do you sit, Liam, going into Sunday, other than being absolutely shit scared?
Just that, really, to be honest. I don't think there's an apart from. For me, it's the most I've dreaded a derby in a very, very long time. I, for one, don't think, from what I've seen of Hearts, don't think that they've been bottom of the league. Like, but I don't think they've deserved to be down there that much.
Do you think it's more worrying for us that we've
been worse than
been,
they have?
we not only have we been worse, but we've not been able to put a string of set of performances together.
We've definitely been worse than they have. They've obviously had to juggle Europe as well. So it's been a bit of a struggle for them. I spoke at length a couple of weeks ago, I think, about how Scottish teams like Aberdeen and Hearts and Hibs, if we ever get there, will really struggle to build the squads for Europe because we're not going to be there year in, year out. It's just not the way that it's not financially viable to build squads for Europe. So I think that they've maybe struggled a wee bit with that. They clearly showed at the weekend that they're a team capable of putting in a performance. St Mirren have been #no mugs for a long time, and they put 4 past them. So, yeah, like you say, every single time, Derby, all form goes out the window. But does it really?
Craig, line-up come Sunday. Do you think we could see an issue at right back? Or do you think, again, that could lead to us actually having a change of shape again and having Martin Boyle deployed as a wing back like we used to? And do you think Dwight Gale could potentially get an opportunity from the start?
If I'm being totally honest, this is the least I've ever been arsed for a derby.
I've definitely been arsed least for a derby, like arsed less.
To the point where us getting scudded, or even us winning, I don't feel like it bothers me that much.
Well, I'm glad I didn't ask how you were feeling about the game.
Sunday at 12 o'clock as well.
So when it comes to the lineup, this is the worst answer I could give you. As it stands right now, I couldn't care. And I don't know. Because I feel no matter what combination we play, if we go into an Edinburgh Derby with Martin fucking Boyle at right wing back, then we're going to have an issue. We're going to have a serious issue. But
and it's going to be Craig stamping down the stairs 5 minutes into the game.
A diplomatic answer. I do feel we'd be better served with Kukarevich and Gale up top.
Liam, you mentioned that all form goes out the window in derbies, or you questioned whether it does or not, right? So in the last 5 derbies, either side have only lost 1, right? And I know that's nothing to shout about, but the Marcondes one, you could argue that we were the better side, or most people would say that we were the better side, and they got a penalty that should have never been a penalty. Shankland's 93rd minute, ragdoll of Rocky in the previous game as well at Easter Road, we were the better side. Obviously both sides missed a penalty, but we didn't deserve to be beaten in that game. I'm sure we can both agree. LAU Ann's double, we were the better side in spells. LAU and dug us out of jail as well, but all in all, better side again. Nisbet's free kick at the end of the season before, when we could have went above them for Europe, we were the better side again. Yes, they were down to 10 men. That was a brilliant chance to go above them. And before that, Nisbet's 1-0 at Easter Road. So I'm not sitting here saying that there's been a mentality change in Edinburgh derbies because 1 win in 5 obviously does not show that. But years have gone by where we've not even turned up in derbies. And yes, Hearts probably haven't turned up in derbies, and they've came to Easter Road and Gary Glenn's went round the goalkeeper and scored a goal, and they've probably deserved it because we've just been absolutely horseshite. But in the last 5 Edinburgh derbies, you could argue we have been the better side in all 5 of them.
Does that not tell you?
We've just not had the rub of the green in most of that. So
does that not tell you all that you need to know, though? Last 5 derbies, we've been the better side and we've only won one of them.
Shaun, I think
it sums it up for sure. But what do you think we need to do to, other than score more goals than them? Before one of you say that, what do you think we need to do to just have that extra edge?
We need to make sure that we're. See, for me, in Edinburgh derbies, especially at Easter Road, they always look like they want it more, and they are. I don't think it's a it's a coincidence that the first balls and the second balls always land to Hearts players, because I think that they work extremely hard when it comes to those 50-50s and those in contention pieces of play. They always look like they want it more. They're always looking like they're willing to give absolutely everything to get the result over the line. And whether we try and pass the ball around them or play through the lines or whatever, try to be too cute and clever, at the end of the day, hard work will most of the time win you the game in these fixtures. And I don't think that the players that we've had in those last 5 games have been able to work hard enough to get the results over the line. And I think that's what we need to do. We need to make sure that we're battling, we're winning those battles in the midfield, and we're like man for man, just putting in a better performance and wanting it more than the opposite number.
Craig, we've obviously seen a lot more Derby defeats than Liam in our time, but the fact that we've had better performances, albeit not getting the right level of results, you'll know yourself the amount of derbies we've went into and been walked over and not even laid a glove on their midfield and stuff like that. Do you think there's any crummy comfort that the current players and the current squad can take, knowing that, yes, we've only won one in the last 5, but they can match up against them and maybe get the better of them this time, and deservedly?
In derbies, right, Shaun, you could probably agree with this with me. On average, how many times have we came away from a derby thinking, how the fuck have we not won that?
I know.
Right? And it's very, very seldom that they'll give us a doing, right? Despite what the scorelines over the years might say.
What says be clipped after
I'll
give
give you as an example, right? You look on paper at the 3-0 game in the cup. So on paper, it's a 3-0 defeat. But if you actually were at the game and watched the game, it wasn't a 3-0 defeat.
Another one that you could argue we probably should have got the better of them of.
The amount of times I've came away from either Easter Road or Tynecastle more annoyed, not that we didn't, I don't know how to word this right, but I'm more annoyed about the fact that we didn't win rather than the fact that we got beat. So it almost feels like in derbies we beat ourselves.
Makes sense. I get that completely.
And what I think needs to happen with it on Sunday for us to get a result is we need to stop treating this like it's any other game. Mm-hmm. The vibe that I get, and whenever you see fucking comments about, oh, do you know what, we need to treat it like it's... No. Because what they do, when they get players through the door, or I can guarantee you, right, when Critchley walked through the door, it would have been made abundantly fucking clear to him, regardless of what Saturday's result is against St Mirren, next week's the big one. They would take finishing 11th every season if it meant they beat us 4 times a season.
Do you think we're in a good
so
position though, having somebody like David Gray?
Liam, we don't. We would rather finish above them and maybe beat them once.
Craig's whereas
they would honestly, they talk about us being irrelevant and all that, right? But it's no. Beating us is fucking and to the fans it's the same, like beating. I would take finishing 11th if it meant we beat them 4 times a year, every year.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how that's not how the club think.
And obviously, that's maybe where the frustration comes in for the fans, though, because obviously the club didn't see it.
It's all metaphor, all hypotheticals, right? Because realistically, you didn't want to finish 11th every year.
No,
but it's that's the mentality that they have. And that they would rather look at the relegation season, right? We went there with a chance to bury them and ended up fucking going down with them. So even though they themselves got relegated, celebrate the fact that we went down with them because we couldn't put them down ourselves.
And even the one in 2019, just before COVID, when they got relegated when the league was cut short and they came Easter Road. And we were like, here we go, this could be an absolute doing, and they beat us 3-1.
They had 10 points that season, and 6 of them came against us.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, it might be less than 10, more than 10, I don't know. But the number of points they had, they got 6 of them.
I think their only away win was against us,
know,
or the only away points were against us.
now, I know in derbies, right, obviously it's the players on the park that make the difference, right?
No, because they beat us twice at
But-
Easter Road that season.
Do you think having David Gray, Liam Craig, all these Hibs men in the dugout can only set this team up in the right way possible and get them in the right frame of mind? Obviously, it's then up to the players to then do the job on the pitch, and obviously, if they don't do that, then fine. But having the coaching staff that we have in place at the minute and the people involved in the club at the minute, they're going to make sure that those players understand the importance of the fixture, especially the new players.
I don't
Maybe
think
get someone like fucking Gary Locke or Jim Jeffries in the Hibs dressing room. Let them ken what it means.
like I think that statement's absolute birthday care pish, and the reason for that is Gray's been a part of the last 4 coaching staffs on the park more often than not. We've had Hanlon and Stevenson. Latterly, we had McGregor. So nah, it is a complete mentality thing, and it's weird. It almost comes across, even as a Hibs fan, if I was to look at the outside looking in, it almost comes across as we're better than them. Not on the, I mean, like we have a high, we have a higher social standing. We view ourselves as superior to them. So, well, it might be nice to beat them. We'd rather finish 3rd and 4th rather than take a couple of wins against them. But I think it should be something that's drummed in at them from minute 1, regardless of who's in the dugout.
Yeah.
Who's in, and the thing is, a lot of these boys come from, like, so you've got Tannadice, who would have, when he walked through the door, would have been told what the significance of the derby with Newcastle is. Derbies don't change, right? The 2 rival clubs hate each other. That doesn't change whether it's Man United, Liverpool, Celtic, Rangers, Hibs, Hearts, fucking Boca Juniors, River Plate. A derby doesn't change. You're both staring at me blankly.
I don't even know what the question was. I tuned it.
Well, the point is that it shouldn't be. There's no extra significance based on a Hibs Hearts derby than what there is a Celtic Rangers derby, other than the teams involved. A Rangers win in a derby doesn't mean any more to them than a win in an Edinburgh derby does for us.
Yeah.
The significance is the same.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't need to be fucking, this is what it means to the support. Like, they should already know.
The significance of what we're about to play means absolutely everything to me. And what we're about to play against is a game
What a segue.
of Edinburgh Derby truth, or I was going to say truth or dare there, true or false. Now,
Craig, I dare you to pull Shaun.
yeah, maybe do that on Saturday at the gym.
In the sauna.
Oh, is that what we're doing as well? Love it.
Cheeky, cheeky.
Craig, as holder of all championship belts on the Hibs Ramble quizzes,
I thought I beat him last time.
majority belt holder, I will give Craig the courtesy of picking whether he goes first or second, and that will then dictate the questions that he then gets. So, Craig, would you, now, for context, everyone, there's 2 sets of questions, 2 sets of 5 questions, so 10 questions in total. Liam will answer 5, Craig will answer 5. Whoever has a higher score at the end wins. If it's a draw, there's a tiebreaker, and that's all it is. Nice and simple. True or false? I've got 5 statements or 5 questions, and you'll answer true or false. Craig, do you want to go first or second?
I'll let Liam go first.
Okay.
What an arsehole.
Right.
Well, no, because these are more guessing ones. It's no about knowledge. These are just...
It's a 50-50. It's a 50-50, right?
Right, here we go.
Okay, so you'll have 5 questions, Liam. Let's see what your score is, and then Craig knows what he needs to potentially beat.
Okay,
David
Shaun.
Gray has scored versus Hearts.
False.
Correct. Prior to Ellie Yuan's double, Daryl Horgan was the last player to score a double versus Hearts.
False.
Which is correct. Can you tell me the...
Martin Boyle.
Cool. That wasn't an additional point or anything like that. I was just curious if you actually knew. Scott Allen assisted both Martin Boyle's goals in the 2-0 derby at Tiny.
True.
Scott Allen scored the opener in the natural order 2-0 Derby victory.
True.
Okay, so you've got 4 for 4.
Come on.
Craig, so far, would you have rather had these questions?
Aye. Because I'll probably
I thought there was a fifth one.
It is. I said so far. Right, question 5.
This was going to trip me up.
You have to go back all the way to Alex McLeish to find the Hibs manager with a 50% or higher win percentage versus Hearts.
Is this league only or league and cup?
Against Hearts.
You need to go all the way back to Alex McLeish. I think that's probably false.
It's actually true.
Oh, well.
In our complete utter history since 1875, I think there's only 3 managers that have got a win percentage against Hearts that are more than 50%. And Alex McLeish.
I thought Stubbs.
A lot of draws under Stubbs away.
No, Neil Lennon, Stubbs. There was like 4 managers in a row that had 33% win.
Right.
So you're 4 out of 5.
I'll take it, by the way.
Martin Boyle was on the pitch when Simon Murray scored to make it 1-0 in the 2017 1-0 Derby.
Well, if he was a sub, he might have been celebrating at the other end and ran on the pitch.
He might not have even been in the squad. He might have had his hair transplant.
Oh, that's a terrible opener, by the way.
You've clearly given him the fucking beginner level questions.
I think what he's done is he's done it and then he's ran out of things to ask.
No. I done 1 and 1 and 2 and 2 and 2 and 2.
I'm trying to think of the move because obviously it comes for Barker and McGeoch on the left.
But I actually watched this goal earlier on because Shaun put it on the Twitter.
Correct.
But I don't know the answer.
Okay. That was going to, regardless of what Craig said, I was going to say, well, if you paid attention to the tweets that we put out and you watched the videos, you'd see it.
Hold on, you said it was
in that video or not.
on Twitter.
Didn't he cheat? Didn't he be that guy?
Is he in?
I'm
Is he
gonna,
in the video?
was Boyle in the park? Yes or no? I'm going to say false.
He was on the pitch.
Oh, the pressure's on now, by the way.
So you've got to get the remaining 4 correct. Xander Clark was in goal when Martin Boyle scored late to make it 1-1 in his comeback.
See, I know the answer to this.
False.
Correct. Who was in goals?
Craig Gordon.
Correct. Jason Cummins has more goals versus Hearts than Gary O'Connor.
Oh.
By the way, shout out to London Hibs website, London Hearts website, because geez,
That place is unreal, eh?
So much data, and I love it.
Aye. O'Connor. So O'Connor's got.
There's surely got to be a time limit here.
Fuck off. You got fucking questions about the same game.
Come on.
Oh, I'm trying to think. Did he score that season he came back?
Questions were all about different matches, but okay.
Come on, Shaun. Come on, ref.
The question was Jason Cummins has scored more.
Jason Cummins has more goals versus Hearts than Gary O'Connor.
For Hibs.
For Hibs.
True.
It's false.
Come on.
Jason
Playing for
Cummins
pride
has
now.
Hibernian goals versus Hearts. Gary O'Connor has 6.
I would have said Cummins as well, to be honest.
Cummins with
Because it seemed like Cummins scored every time he played against them.
I know. Frank Sozzi is the only permanent Hibs manager to never lose a derby as a manager to Hearts. The only ever permanent.
False.
It's actually true. Permanent manager.
All right. How many Edinburgh Derbies has David Gray lost?
How many has he won? He's got 0% record.
As a manager.
Who's he managed? When did he manage a derby?
He's managed. You never said. You just said permanent manager at Hibs. David Gray's a permanent manager at Hibs.
David Gray's never had a derby to manage.
So what? That wasn't the question.
It doesn't matter because you've lost anyway. So he
I've
can
not
give you the
played
point for that.
So the question being, Frank Sawsey is the only permanent Hibs manager to never lose a match as a manager to Hearts.
Yeah, David Gray's never lost a match as a manager at Hearts because he's not played them.
Not having that. Poor.
What questions?
Even if you got it right, you've still lost. Anyway,
I'm going to have to. I'm going to
Was
have
that his
to.
last question?
Independent adjudicator on the Cummins and O'Connor one.
that's fine. Go into the London Hearts website and it'll tell you.
Cummins. So
Have you got another question for him?
I have. I've got one more.
All right.
But we're coming back onto Jason Cummins in a bit, Craig, so we can go through his goals in a bit. Between 2015 and 2018, we won 4 derbies in a row at Easter Road.
Fucking hell. 2015, did you say?
2015 to 2018, we won 4 derbies in a row at Easter Road. True or false?
Last one in the championship was 2-0. They went up. We didn't. We beat them in the cup, so there's 2. We still didn't go up, so we beat them in the cup at Easter Road again, so that's 3. And then we won the first game back in the Premier League, so 4. So aye, true.
Yeah, I think so.
Correct.
Would there not be 5 though? Because did we not beat them in the second derby at Easter Road that season as well? Was that not the Scott Allen and Jamie McLaren game?
Liam, congratulations.
Oh, thanks, mate. But was I not right in what I've just said?
I would need to go back and check. I have 5 here, but I can't remember if there was one in between it or not. So I would need to.
The National Logger game was the same season as the Simon Murray.
Yeah, but was that the second or third
game
at Easter Road? I don't know.
It would have been the second.
Do you want to know what the tiebreaker was, just to see if you?
Go on then. Go on then.
So the tiebreaker was who was the last player to be sent off at Easter Road in an Edinburgh Derby.
In an Edinburgh Derby, it was a Hearts player, wasn't it?
Shaun.
Yep.
When was that? Was that when we beat them 1-0?
No, the cup game.
That was the 3-0. I've actually got
when Civic scored.
Yeah, so for the wee...
I don't remember that at all.
That are out there, like myself and Craig, that would want to know the answers. So you've got Shankland in 2023. You've got Cummins and Augustine in 2017. James McPake in 2013. Riordan in 2010. Darren McCormack and some Hearts boy, not even going to try and pronounce it, in 2010 as well.
Palazuelos.
That's it.
Palazuelos.
Another Hearts goalkeeper and Bamba in 2009 and Stephen Fletcher in 2009 as well. That's as far back as I was.
We need some more red cards in Edinburgh Derbies, I think.
It's been a while.
That fucking Cummins goal one's really pissing me off.
So, Jason Cummins has got 5 goals versus Hearts in a Hibs shirt. I'm going to go through them just now, and then what we'll do is we can rank. You can take a turn ranking what your 5 are out of it. So he scored in 2014 at Tiny in the white strip to make it 1-1. Match finished 1-0. 2015 he scores to make it 1-0 again in the Farid El Alagoui match at home, 2-0. 2016 he makes it 2-1 at Tiny. 2016 again makes it 1-0. We win 1-0. 2017 he makes it 1-0. We win 3-1. Would I be correct to say that you would order that from 2017 backwards in that order, or would you have it in any other order?
Not for me.
I don't understand what you mean.
Basically, how good they were.
What, in terms of goals, or how much I enjoyed it?
So if you take away the significance,
you can rank them however you want to rank them. All I'm asking is, how would you rank those 5?
The one in the white strip at Tynecastle was that was a belter to a pass by Scott Allen, was it not?
Yeah,
that was a great goal.
Yeah,
and then the header at Tynecastle was a fantastic goal as well. Okay. I think the one in the cup at Easter Road the year that we won the cup has got to be down the bottom because it was a tap in.
That's right.
The other one in the cup at Easter Road was a pretty good one, and then the 5th one the Ferry de la Liga game, was that not like a tap in as well, like for 3 or 4 yards?
He scuffed it with his right shin.
Yeah.
That one.
Aye, that's not a good goal.
Yeah.
So I would go that one at the bottom, and then the 2016 Cup, then 2017 Cup, then second I would go the header. First I would go the 1-1 at Tynecastle game.
That first one, that ball for Scott Allen's fucking unbelievable.
Shock.
And Cummins is, I suppose, obviously significance-wise, the header is number one. But
Well, if you're doing it significance-wise, aye.
other than the ball, like the one in the first one in 2016, the one at Easter Road, was just a ball across the box and he gets in between. The one the year we won the cup, the celebration's better than the actual goal, because it's probably debatable if he's probably offside, because it was very, very tight when Grant Holt played him through. By the header, some fucking header, like you can't take that away. Like it's an unbelievable goal, that. But no, just aesthetically, the first
hang in the air for so long before it fell into the back of the net.
By the one with Scott Allen's pass is probably number one for me.
I think a lot of people forget about that goal as well.
Yeah.
Oh, how the fuck did Gary O'Connor score 6?
Lastly, what we're going to do, boys, is we're going to move on to an Edinburgh Derby 5-a-side team. So for those that have maybe missed it, or for what's coming up this week, there is going to be a different Derby-related content coming out on the old Twitter. So keep an eye out on it. Yesterday, we put a tweet out asking for people's Derby 5-a-side teams. For those that maybe didn't notice, all the players that you could have selected from had scored, obviously apart from the goalkeepers. Liam, you went Rocky, Murray, Zamama, Allen and Benji and said it's simple. I went Marciano, Sozzi, Lappe, Allen and Riordan. Cheers. So Craig, what would your Edinburgh Derby 5-a-side team, and the only stipulation is every single player, apart from the goalkeeper, needs to have scored a goal versus Hearts.
How the fuck can you choose a 5-a-side team for a derby and not have Sozzi in it?
Because Zamama and Scott Allen are doing my flair work.
Right, but Frank Sozzi never lost a derby.
As a manager and a player.
Well, my fives team have never lost a derby either.
Just like
Playing
David
together.
a game as a manager against Hearts as well.
Listen, you need to let this go. I'll beat you fair and square.
Craig, who would your goalkeeper be?
Nick Colgan.
And would you have one or two defenders?
One.
Being Sozzi.
Yes.
Two midfielders?
Would be... No, one midfielder and two strikers.
Who's your one midfielder, sorry?
Lappe.
Your two strikers?
And then Griffiths and Riordan.
Some 5-a-side side that.
Going out, all out for goals.
For those that haven't seen the tweet, go and check it out. Reply. There was one tonight as well, ranking 4 derby goals. So go and have a look at the videos, see what the goals are, and rank them, I guess. Some of the other players that haven't been mentioned: Rob Jones, Paul Hanlon, Ian Murray, Dela Cruz as well, Zamama, Boozy, Liam Miller, Liam Craig, Horgan, Boyle,
Stokes and Vazte unlucky to miss out.
Fletcher, Griffiths, Cummins, O'Connor, Simon Murray as well. So, and tonight's tweet was rank these iconic Hibs goals. So, or Derby goals. So I'm going to give the boys the 4 of them, and to close us off, they're going to rank them from 1 to 4, which one they like the best. Whether it is the goal, whether it's celebration, whether it's the whole thing. So the first one is Benji's iconic celebration. The second one is Scott Allen's daisy cutter. The third one is Simon Murray's nutmeg and goal. And in that video, Martin Boyle's on the pitch and comes and celebrates with him. And the fourth one is Gary O'Connor's winner when we only needed 10 men.
I can't believe Craig cheated, looked on the Twitter at the video and still got it wrong.
Do you know what's mad, right? You've listed 3, so out of those 4, I was only in the stadium for one of them.
Wow. And that was Scott Allen's.
Gary O'Connor's.
Bastard. Right, rank them 1 to 4. Go.
Well, because I was there, O'Connor's is number 1. And that was just fucking class. That
Minute as well. Nice and sunny.
Scott Allen's Daisy Cutter. Then what was? Oh no. Simon. Actually, do you know what? I'll go. Simon Murray's is first because I was in a house full of jambos. Like there was about 8 or 9 jambos and me, and I went absolutely fucking mad. Scott Allen's Daisy Cutter, Gary O'Connor's, and then Benji's.
Liam?
I think I'd go Scott Allen first. The Simon Murray one was great, but I think the Gary O'Connor one goes second for me. Simon Murray third, Benji fourth. Is that the same as you, Craig, but just with the top 2 switched around?
Brilliant.
Benji's debut at Hampden, man, what a fucking shit show that game was.
Right, that brings us
Leave him alone, man.
A wonderful close. Gents, the first half might not have been a pleasure, but the second half was for me. So, hope you enjoyed yourself.
I was going to say, I hope we come back next week and I can be waxing lyrical about how Joe Newell has proved me wrong.
Well, if not, then I'll do more Trump and more Jim White.
And Joseph Bursick has saved 2 penalties.
Still won't stop him being the worst keeper we've ever had.
I think you're absolutely.
If you go back and watch the video of Benji's iconic celebration, there's an even worse goalkeeper in that video.
Well, he saved a penalty against Inverness, who actually have this evening went into administration whilst we've been recording.
Oh well, what a shame. Anyway.
Right, gents, I'll let you go. Enjoy your evening. I look forward to ranting with you next week or celebrating with you next week. So have a lovely evening. Come on the Hibs.
Let's get ready to rumble.